All right, so I've had a couple people asking me about rig rundown type scenarios, so I thought I would take a little bit of time out and try to do something for anybody that has questions about this live loop setup. I've been building this for like the better part of a year through COVID, and I started with a single channel looper and a couple instruments and eventually built it up to what it is now with the camera angles and whatnot, which I don't always use. I haven't been using lately. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep this pretty brief. Stuff that people have been asking about. I'm going to start with the live stream setup, which is based around, it's a Blackmagic Atom Mini Pro. So it's like a switcher that will take HDMI camera feeds and allow me to switch back and forth through them. So I have HDMI cables running to these cameras and they're back into this switcher. And then I have the audio from the mixer, which I will get into, obviously, going into it. And then that is also the encoder for the live stream. So I can push a live stream like directly from that. So if you have more questions about that, just hit me up. But that's how I'm getting like the multiple camera angles and the feed, so it's not so intensive on my computer. Next, real quickly, instrument wise, this is a Roland SPD-30. I think it feels a lot better than the SPD-SX, so I use that. Obviously, I like it. I got it really cheap used, so it wasn't a big deal. Over here, this is a Nord Electro 5D that does all of like the Wurlitzer stuff, as well as organs, upright pianos, which I like with a lot of reverb, and then some synth pads with a ring modulator. And then I have a clavinet on here that I use a lot. Is this thing, which is just good for everything. And then up here is a Nord Lead 2, which I got on a whim, like from my buddy that was like had to move, so he was selling a bunch of stuff. I like it and it's cool, but I don't understand it, and I think I need to replace it. Basically, I just push buttons until I'm like, maybe that's cool. I don't understand how this thing works. I just push buttons on it. Lately I've been using this PV Cropper Classic that my friend's dad gave to me when a bunch of my stuff got stolen. It has different pickups in it. Like this is a Twisted Telly, and this is a G&L magnetic field design pickup, and I like this guitar. It sounds great. There's a lot of delay on there for some reason. Bass is just a Mexi P bass that I've had for a while. No big deal. Pedalboard, which isn't like a ton of stuff. It's built around the HX Stomp, Line 6 HX Stomp. So that's basically running like a cab sim, so I can go direct in and not have to worry about like an amp in the room. So it can be pretty much silent, and I'm just in headphones like at whatever time, and I can be pushing a live stream. So in the loop of that is a Boss Blues driver, which is the best pedal ever made. This Source Audio Spectrum is really cool, and it does all like the envelope filtery stuff. There's a Super Overdrive, just if I want more. This EQ I like with the Source Audio. DoD Rubberneck, second best pedal ever made. Analog delay with tap tempo. It just sounds really good. I just like that pedal a lot. And then the Strymon Flint, which I leave on all the time with the intensity all the way down on the trem side. And then I just kind of use the 70s reverb most of the time and just control the mix. But yeah, the amp sim on the Stomp is like an AC30 and a Deluxe in parallel into a cabinet direct into the mixer. So we can come over here to the mixer, which is a Behringer X32, and everything goes in there first. So like bass is plugged direct in. I have a bank of like rack mount DIs down here. The guitar goes to the Stomp, and then the Stomp is direct in. SPD-30 is direct in stereo. Both of the keyboards I think maybe are stereo, maybe the top one's just mono. So all that stuff goes in there first, and then I put like EQ and light compression on the inputs, and then I use an aux send to go out to the looper, which if you're not familiar with what an aux send is, it's like a monitor mix. Like when you're on stage or whatever, you have like the front of house mix that goes out to the audience, and then you have your mix while you're on stage that comes out of that speaker that's just for you. So that's just like any independent audio path. I'm using that type of send to go out of the mixer. This mixer has flying faders, which is super nice for stuff like that. So this is the monitor mix that's going out to the RC-505, which I'll get to in a second. I can independently control, like this is the bass, guitar, bottom keyboard, and this is the SPD30. And you'll notice these next two channels are the looper coming back. And you'll notice they're down in the sender. You'll get a feedback loop, and then they're up in the main mix. So I send all my instruments in, light EQ and compression, try to make them like even so they hit the looper nice. Send them out of an aux send. There's like an absurd amount of cables running around over to the inputs of the looper. So now I have all the instruments coming from the mixer into the looper. So from there, it's pretty normal. I can make loops. There's a slicer on there. And then that audio out goes back into the mixer into two channels, and that's what you actually hear on the live stream, is just like what's coming out of the looper. This is hard. What am I doing? And then if we go back to the mixer, we have some headphone routing that is really important because I listen to a click track that's coming from the looper all the time. So I'm taking the headphone out of the looper in stereo, going into two inputs. I have a separate headphone mix that I can control the volume of from over here that has the metronome in it. So the nice thing about that is that as you're segueing and going back and forth and trying to change things, you have a metronome that's like helping you keep in time. So if I put like a single click, I don't have to guess where that one is to build the beat around it, because I have the click going. So I can easily just that was bad, but you get the idea. And then we can swing back around. I do have this mic that is into the looper, which I will use for, you know, snaps and shakers. Whoa, whoa. You know, I can loop those in there. I can do vocals through here with a ton of reverb if I want to do vocals with a ton of reverb. And that's pretty much it. I think the only thing I didn't discuss is the foot switches. I think this is mostly for people that use the RC-505 and are maybe trying to do a really similar thing. So you've probably heard of the Nectar Pacer or that Behringer FCB 1010 or whatever. I use the Nectar Pacer. Okay, so it's always a mess down here. There's usually a lot of picks everywhere and stuff that I've dropped, and there's some wire cutters. So how I have it set up is this bottom row is left to right, just record play for the looper. So track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4, track 5. This one all the way on the far side is all start stop. The top is, this one is stop for track 2. This one is stop for track 3. And then these I have set to undo for track 4 and track 5 respectively. Usually I'll build like the drums will be on 1, and then I'll put like bass or pianos, you know, rhythm instruments, rhythm guitar, whatever, on 2 and 3, however it works out, and maybe shakers and stuff on that. And then these 4 and 5 are ones that I'll be able to change all the time. So if I want to like make like a compounding loop thing that like builds on itself and then just clear it and it's gone, and I don't have to like worry about when I hit stop having to like mute that or whatever. Over here there's some trash in a can. So over here, this is right below the SPD30. I have a kick trigger for it, which is nice. And then this one is set to also to record play for track 1, and then this one is set to undo track 1, because I always either mess up the drum part the first time I try to play it or play a stupid drum part and I don't like it. So I can just be kind of playing drums as I'm figuring out a part, and you'll see me hit undo like all the time until I figure out like, here's a good part, and then I'll keep it. And then here's the thing that I think makes me a genius is this mirror. So I can see what's going on with the looper. You see that? So as I'm playing drums and facing this way, I can see like what's happening on the looper, and if I wrecked something, I don't have to turn around to look at it. So I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully that was sort of helpful and not too confusing. I was thinking maybe like a live stream Q&A would be easier, because you could ask questions and I could specifically answer them. I definitely have trouble wrapping my brain around it. As I've built it, it's changed, and I have to remember what I did to try to explain it. So anyway, hopefully that helped, and I'll see you guys later.